Join now, Joe Sheehan Newsletter, a guy who, according to reports, still has not been able to sleep after the excitement of the home run derby tonight. Joe, how you doing, dude?
It's funny. I actually didn't really sleep all that well. It wasn't about the derby. I'm not sure what's going on. Just wasn't sleeping. But it's going to be a little drama for you today. I'm at 18% on the phone, so we're going to see if we can get through a half hour with 18% left on my phone.
Joe, you and I have been talking, and I think it's like 42 years now. And we've had gunshot, we had mafia hits, you've had people mugged in the park. We have been through everything through your phone. So 18%, that's nothing by comparative standards.
This is true, and we probably won't get too much ambient noise today, so that's fun.
Not too bad. I enjoy that stuff. Okay. Look, I didn't watch the home run derby because I don't have Netflix. And I'm not going to be turning on services just to watch exhibitions, whether it's NFL, NHL, MLB, or anything. But because of the buzz this morning, I had to go back, catch highlights, and watch everything. By all accounts, seriously, even the naysayers, doomsayers had to go back and correct themselves. This was the greatest home run derby ever.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good one. Great story at the end with Walker. But, I mean, I think we've seen some more dramatic ones. I was at the one in 2008 when Josh Hamilton went absolutely nuts in the second round, ended up losing it to Justin Morneau. There was I want to say the one in 99 at Fenway was really big. So, no, I don't think it was the greatest one ever. And I do think the Netflix issue kind of did cut out a lot of people. I know a lot of people do have Netflix. I'm not one of them. So I think there's, I was following it online. I was following it on Slack. And, there were some negative vibes there, too, with the booing of the Philly fans. I'm not sure that's necessarily what you want to, the message you really want to be sending. I know they're kind of just living up to their reputation. So, like I say, I think it ended well. I think the fact that Jordan Walker, who for years couldn't hit the ball in the air, went out and won it. I think that's a really good capper to what's been a great story for him this year.
Jordan Walker is down to his final swing. He hit 6 straight homers to eliminate the hometown kid in Kyle Schwarber. And for me, here's something, and I don't know how deep you're supposed to go into the home run derby, but Jordan Walker's salary this year is $799K, and his payoff for the home run derby is $1 million. That's real life stuff right there.
Right. I mean, it has a really big impact. We talked about this, I think, when the NBA Cup was going around. And, the money doesn't mean a whole lot to the veterans. But if you're one of the young players on the team, if you're one of the guys who don't get to play that much, the NBA Cup payoff matters a lot. You go through baseball history, Louie, and, guys would come up with the Yankees or, Dodgers or the Cardinals, and the World Series share used to be a really big deal. It actually used to be as much or more than some of these guys used to play. Now, the numbers in baseball, in all sports, have gotten so big that these little bonuses don't usually matter a whole lot. But as you say, Jordan Walker, he made more money last night than he will make in 2026. So certainly impactful there. And another part of the story, like I said, we don't really talk about the money all that much, but certainly impactful for him.
And then Jordan Walker, with the line of the night being asked about the booze, I think he nailed it. He goes, I'll take this as respect because you guys don't boo nobody.
Well, it's Philadelphia. They boo everybody.
They booed Santa Claus. It's one of the all-time greatest lines. The Philly fans booed Santa Claus. Come on.
They did. So, Jordan, I don't think you got that one right. But
it's a great line, though. You guys don't boo nobody. I mean, come on. It's like the comic taking care of the hecklers.
One of the things that he said after the home run derby was he was hoping that this kind of exposure, this kind of success for a young black man in a high-profile event might encourage other young black men to get into baseball. Baseball's been trying to make inroads with young black men for a while now. As the game has moved more towards the suburbs, as the game has moved more towards travel ball and pay baseball, it's been harder and harder to get young black men to play the game. So Walker was effusive about the idea that maybe seeing what he did last night will encourage more young black men to play baseball.
One last thing on this that, caught my attention. I knew this, but I don't lose sleep over it, so I barely remembered it. But Netflix actually pays $50 million a year on a 3-year deal to carry opening night, the Derby, and Field of Dreams. And I remember when streaming was so hesitant to get in any of the sports business, and they think this is worth $50 million to have these 3 events. I know nothing about the business of streaming and sports, but it strikes me as an insane gamble.
I think if you're Netflix, which hasn't really made the inroads in sports that Amazon has, it's a way to get your foot in the door with MLB to start that relationship. It's hard to believe that 3 scattered events, only 2 of them actual games, would make that thing an impact. I would be curious to see how many people signed up for Netflix at 5 o'clock yesterday when they learned that the Home Run Derby was going to be on there. Opening night, it wasn't a good broadcast, and there were a lot of people annoyed about that. Yankees Giants that Wednesday night. But I think it's more about establishing the relationship with MLB so that down the road, remember, MLB's deals are up at the end of, I want to say, 2028. I've been saying 27. I think that's 28. And you're, I think, going to see MLB try to go to this model where they're going to want to carve everything up. And the more people, more entities they can have bidding on that, the better it's going to be for them.
Fair enough. That does make sense. And I guess if Netflix can make an impression, I mean, maybe in their head they think they would have an inside track, but it's always about the bottom line of money. There is no such thing as relationships and inside tracks with these bids. But
you're starting out, you're saying, okay, we now have, I'm not talking about like a good relationship, bad relationship, but we're in the room. We are one of the people we've established as, hey, we're going to broadcast baseball games. And for Netflix, it's also the 2 games that they'll have is a way for them to try out talent. It's a way for them to fix the score bug that was so bad on opening night.
They can experiment. They can experiment.
Exactly. They've got to get some reps doing this as well. So, like I said, I don't think they're going to make back their $50 million this year or next year, but I do think they're setting the stage for possibly, remember, I mean, again, we talked about this before. There are a lot of fans who kind of on the side of MLB because they think that if MLB wins this war with the players, they'll be able to just pay one price and get 2,430 baseball games without blackouts, or get their home team for $119 a year with no blackouts. And I'm telling you right now, that is never going to happen. MLB doesn't want to quote lift blackouts for the fans so they can give them the Uber MLB.TV. MLB wants to do what the NFL has been doing, or the NBA has been doing, which is say, okay, we're going to give Fox 25 games. And we're going to give Apple a 30-game package. And we're going to give Netflix a 25-game package. And you're going to have to sign up for all of these services to watch every one of your team's games. That's what it's all about now. It's not about let's put together the best possible package for the fans and sell it to them at one good price point. It's about getting the rights fees from all of these entities. And then these entities will want you to sign up. Okay, well, if you want to see the Yankees do it here in New York. Louie, the Yankees have a package through Amazon where it's like every Wednesday night. It's about 20, 25 games over the course of the year. And so if you're a Yankee fan, you've signed up for yes, but now 20 of those games are going to be on Amazon. And 5 to 10 of them are going to end up on Apple as well. That's the future. And it's just so incredibly anti-fan. It's so incredibly anti-consumer that it's so anti-fan that it's obviously going to.
So, Joe, does it make me a bad fan that I won't sign up for 6 streaming services to chase every single game of my favorite team?
No, everybody. I mean, streaming fatigue, I go through it with subscription fatigue with what I do for a living, but streaming fatigue is real. There's only so much money to go around. It's not even as much about the money for me as it is the time. I simply don't have enough time to watch the content on all of these streaming services. I have HBO Max, live cable, so I get HBO Max through that. I have Amazon, and I don't remember why I still have Amazon. I have Peacock for occasional golf, and that's about it. And, Netflix I used to have, I don't have anymore. Apple I used to have, I don't have anymore. And I think everybody out there, unless you're at a certain income level, fine, you don't care. You just sign up for everything. But it's really just about the time. There's just no way I'm going to have the time to get value for my money watching all these services. So, I missed the Home Run Derby last night. I'll live. It was never my favorite anyway. It was always kind of stuff on the background. But if Netflix, it's like Apple. Apple has that package on Friday night. I think that starts to chip away. The Amazon thing here in New York. Now, I have Amazon, but it means I can't watch it on my TV. Or I've got to connect things to my TV, and I just can watch it on my phone or my iPad. It just increases the friction between the baseball and the fans. And, I'm a reasonably tech-savvy guy, probably middle of the road. But what's it like for a 68-year-old Yankee fan who's been watching the team for 40 years? And it went from WPIX to Sports Channel to MSG to Yes, and now he can't even get it on Yes. Now he's got to go, oh, wait, why are the Yankees on? Oh, well, they're on this service that you don't have. I think MLB, granted, they care more about young fans, and young fans don't even have cable or satellite anymore. But I do think you're really alienating some of your older fans who just don't want to sign up for 12 things to watch 150 Yankee games.
No, it's so hard. I think it was 2 years ago where I wanted to recommit to Astrodome. So I even changed my TV services so I could have whatever the heck the Space Network was. And the opening game I got to watch and not the next two because I didn't have the right services. And I mean, sorry, here I am recommitting, and that was my opening weekend experience.
Right, one of the games was probably on Fox, maybe the other one was on ESPN. And, if you have Fox and ESPN, you can still watch those. But, I mean, if I'm going to pay you, if you're going to say, we're going to put the games on this particular network and we want you to pay $19.95 a month or $119.95 a year, but then you're constantly pulling games off of that to give them to these other services, you're just crapping on me, your fan, who wants to give you money. There are so many fans, Louie, who would pay, not even the prices where they'd even pay more. Let's say it's $139.95, $149.95. If they could just watch 162 games a year of their favorite team without having to deal with all this crap. And I'm telling you, it's just never going to be that way because MLB wants as many entities as possible. Like I said, and MLB isn't unique. The difference with MLB, I think, is that I want to say the fans are more devoted, and there's almost more of an expectation that they'll have access. Whereas with, NFL, everything's national anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not really, there's no such thing as local TV rights. In the NBA, there's enough nationally. For me, I feel like this is worse for baseball fans because we talk about this all the time. It's an everyday sport.
Yeah.
This is what you do from April to September. You follow your team. 162 games in 187 days. And you want to be able to watch all of them. And when you're just alienating your fans. It still feels like a transition period, right? We had the RSN model from roughly the late 1990s to the late 2010s, 20 years. It's really a blink of the eye. And I think we're still trying to figure out what the next thing looks like because you still have the digital television, broadcast television, and cable. About half the people in the country have cable or satellite. And then you have a whole bunch of young people who are simply never going to have cable or satellite. So we're trying to figure out how people are going to consume not just sports, all entertainment in the 2030s and beyond.
Joe, here's the way I look at it. Because, you said we want to be able to watch every game. I guess, and maybe this is a me thing, but the way I've always looked at it, with baseball being on 6 months, baseball for me always has the beauty is that I can watch it whenever I want to. It's not always been every game. I can't watch 162 games. There's never been 1 year of my life that I've watched 162 games, okay? But baseball, the beauty of it, because it's on all the time for 6 months, whenever I want to. I watched it when I paid bills. I've watched it when I knew I needed to finish work stuff, project. I'm working on something for the next season, an event contest, right? Baseball always had the beauty that I watched it whenever I wanted to, and the new system makes that a lie.
It was always there for you. And trust me, Louie, I think the last time I watched every Yankee game, I was 16, 17 years old. I didn't have a girlfriend, if you can believe that. And
what?
I would literally build my days around when the Yankees were on.
I don't believe these lies, Joe.
But there are fans who still do that, who still watch 150, 155, 160 games a year. And I think that's your core audience. But where we've gotten to in sports is we don't care about the core audience anymore. I don't mean we, you, and me. I mean like the league. They figure we have those guys, and we have to worry about getting the casual fan. We have to do everything for the casual fan because we have to make the numbers go up. So the core fans, the people who are going to watch, they're going to go to 50 games a year and watch 110 on television, are basically taken for granted. And that's where you say, well, we'll just charge them through the nose and make them pay for 6 different services to get the games they want. It's not a good thing, but I will say this. As much as I don't like it, I really just don't think it's unique to Major League Baseball or even.
Yeah. And again, in conclusion on all of this, but we were trained differently as baseball fans, not in the other sports.
Right. And that's what I do think baseball is different because of the everyday. Like you say, man, it just, even if you're not locked in on every at bat, it's the thing you got home from dinner, you went on a date, whatever you did, and you flip on, it's the 4th inning of the Astros-Dodgers game.
You come back in the 7th and it's tied.
It's always there. And I just, and that's the thing I think the league absolutely doesn't appreciate. They want to create more. And baseball fans just want their guys that they get to watch 150 days. It's a fundamental misunderstanding to me of what baseball is supposed to be. Baseball is the everyday. It's not about the event.
Joe, let's grab a quick timeout, come back. Dude, there's so much more I want to hang out with you about.
Yeah, we got a little sidetracked there. Sorry.
Well, not. How's it sidetracked, man? It's baseball. We just talk baseball every Tuesday. Joe Sheehan of the Joe Sheehan newsletter hangs out. We talk baseball, man. Everything, anything, all things. He joins me on the D4 Land Services hotline. If you ever need like a custom metal building from the ground up, that's one of many things they do at D4 Land Services, like forestry mulching, pond construction, land clearing, land excavation, and even more. And to check it all out, go to d4landservices.com. This is the Louie Bellina Show on The Zone.
The Houston Astros play in the zone. Thanks to Kelly Bird Dozer.
We maroon and white notebooked we did our entire first hour. And a couple of things didn't get to. Aggie Baseball, latest. Richard Zane, very helpful. You love Aggie Baseball? You love Richard Zane. Newest commit 2026, Josh Horvath made it official on Instagram. Round Rock High School product. Perfect Game ranked him as the number 10 right-handed pitcher in the state and number 10 overall, period. So big high school news for Aggie Baseball. Also, A&M outfield signee Ryan Harwood from Chandler, Arizona, is headed to Aggieland. He was listed among MLB's top 250 draft-eligible prospects. Perfect game ranked him number 43 overall in the class of 2026. So MLB draft is done. And now that some of the high school kids reconfirming their commitment too. Something talking about yesterday, speculating, guescalating about A&M's pitching rotation. And some updates on news, information, things shared to me, information I have found. It appears that, it looks like Fresh Corn will be back for Aggie Baseball. And it appears Weston Moss is gone. So 1 out of 2 ain't bad? Question mark? It's awesome. Fresh Corn, Friday nights, the ultimate anchor. It's the must-have, is a Friday night starter. Weston Moss, he was taken, 11th? Yeah, Weston Moss went 11th round. Washington Nationals. My understanding from the things I've seen and talking to a couple of people is that, he just wants to go pro. And he's wanted to go pro. He was going to go pro. 11 is enough. He's going pro. Fresh Corn, it appears, and none of this is 100%, 99%. But it appears, Fresh Corn's coming back. That means your Friday night done, but Moss gone. So now, from returning, and it's 7 signees, transfer pitchers, you have to begin with this. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You need 3 starters. Truthfully, it's always 4 starters because of those 3, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, somebody gets tired, somebody doesn't work out, somebody gets injured. No, I'm not going to unword. I'm not trying to curse someone. That's reality. So 3 of those 7 have to take Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And maybe one of them doesn't work out. So 4 of the 7. And that's 7 plus, who's returning? Maybe 4 at 11. And you need 4. And you got to replace the closer. So that's 3 demand men. Make it 4 out of 11. And you need 3 more. Again, arms you can count on in the pen. So the Moss loss is pretty hard hitting. I mean, that's why yesterday when I was saying, you start with Saturday, Sunday, everything turns easy. Now, if you had to replace Friday, I felt it was almost impossible to make great strides. Of course, you can move forward. You start with Fridays, I think it's still possible. The road's not as deep. It's not as hard, but 3 starters to begin. Saturday, Sunday, Monday's rough. But it looks like you could have Fridays covered. Outstanding, amazing, awesome, epic. So, update from yesterday's thoughts. not an update from yesterday. Thoughts? I need to see Aggie Baseball this year do more with more, not less with more. Because 2 years ago, they were the preseason number one, unanimous number one, did not make the postseason. This past year, they hosted a regional and did not advance from a regional. They hosted, and this past year, 8 players off that team went into the MLB draft. This is 2 straight years that they've done less with more. Reality, that number one team got devastated by injuries, but I still am not convinced they shouldn't at least made the postseason, even with everything that happened. They don't get swept by Missouri, they make it. That team still underachieved, even for the reality of what they were. This team this year, it was unfortunate they ran into a red-hot ASU. Are you still convincing me they should not host from a regional that they hosted? This is one of the worst pitching staffs I've ever seen in my time as an Aggie baseball fan. I think that's one of the 3 worst. How's that? If the worst is going to turn you off and go, I've seen worse, oh, go ahead, tough guy. But one of the 3 worst. You can't argue with that. And I said, I've seen in my lifetime. So there's always an excuse and there's always a reason. I don't want any more excuses, any more reasons. I'm pondering, are they doing less with more? 8 players? 3, I think 11 Aggies total. 3 of them were, the high school commits and stuff. No, 2 high school commits and one of the transfers who's still going to come. So 11 total, but 8 off the team that could not advance from its own regional. So is there doing a less with more? And then, okay, so why is that true statement, Lou? Like what's behind the scenes? Well, his coaching staff in year 1, one coach in particular, year 2, and that's the kind of stuff that undermines everything you're doing. And he's hired these huge upgrades in the coaching staff year to year. How long does it take to get the alignment correct? These are the things you ponder. These are the questions that are out there with Aggie baseball. And we're going into year 3. Wanted to share with you 2027 MLB draft. Top 5 names. Top 5, names for the number 1 pick. Dylan Seward, shortstop, high school, California, Narco High School. Narco. Not with an A, though. Norco. Not narco, but Norco. Set another name, top 5 names. West Virginia, catcher, second baseman, Gavin Kelly. Brendan Lawson, Florida, shortstop. 2 more for you. I said top 5, didn't I? Jacob Seaman, another high school kid, outfielder. Metrolina Christian Academy. An Oregon State right-hander, Dax Whitney. I was kind of surprised only 1 pitcher in there. Kind of expecting to see 3 pitchers. But early list, yes, true. Way early list if you think about it. But still, 5 names alleged. Number 1 overall to look at. We'll stay maroon and white notebook. The eternal debate. The A&M football record for the upcoming season. Maybe this is an updated approach to it or the latest version of, but CBSSports.com did, and I think it was 10 teams total, didn't care. I saw A&M and a couple of others. But teams that will subperform their win total from last year was the category. Teams that will perform below versus last year. And how did they figure this out? Well, we know your win total from last year, and then you take the FanDuel win total, and then you have that gap, and do you think they're going to exceed or beat from last year? And before we go to A&M, I'll give you a good example. Oklahoma won 10 games a year ago, went to the college football playoff. This year, did you know what the FanDuel, because that's what they use for win totals, FanDuel, Oklahoma is 7.5. And the expectation, if you go under at 7, that will be a -3 from a year ago, and that'll be one of the biggest drop-offs. Also, I talk about tiers. Yeah, 10-win team SEC is college football playoff tier. 7 wins, you're a nobody. Your coach is back on the hot seat. Maybe people will be fired in the offseason. and the villagers will come out with pitchforks and torches. So that's what -7 means. Now, even if they hit the over at 8, -2 is a different tier team too, also between 8 and 4 and 10 wins CFP. So Oklahoma was on that list. Georgia Tech, they won 9 games, and they could have won 11. So they were 9, could have won 11. Their win total is 6.5, according to FanDuel. And I got news for you. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone that will take the over on 6.5 with G-Tech this upcoming season. FanDuel, Ole Miss is 11. And here's the thing. Vegas proper does not have a lot of broken lines. So you need to pay attention when you see these. Like, Ole Miss has gotten a lot of way too early, way early, way too early love as a college football playoff team. That's 10 wins, right? FanDuel's got them at 7.5. Well, do you think Vegas is off by 2.5 wins? That'd be a broken line, by the way. Those things catch my attention. Look, every year, college football, and it's part of why, I don't know about you, there's chaos. There's teams that are supposed to win 6 that win 11. In the SEC, there's breakout teams every year. So those aren't broken lines. That's ball. There's a difference. But that fascinates me. So biggest drop off. Ole Miss won 11 a year ago. They're 7.5. And then Iowa State. Oh, poor Iowa State. Historically, Muttfest, awful program. And their legendary head coach, Matt Campbell, got one of his dream jobs, so he had to go. He had to. It's one of the ones he waited for. And he took the entire football team with him. And it's kind of over. Their legendary AD, Pollard, announced he's leaving at the end of the year. He said that he's gotten, they're the Cyclones, right? Iowa State Cyclones. And he's gotten them through the storm. They're going to go back to, did Campbell and Pollard elevate them that they never have to go back to the dark days? I vote no, but still. Iowa State, a year ago, won 8. You want to know what their win total is? 4.5. And the under feels good. A&M was 11 a year ago. FanDuel says 8.5. DraftKings says 8.5. Offshore says 8.5. The Universe says 8.5. If things don't click, they're 8-4 team. I've stared at A&M's schedule so hard, so many times. And we're starting to head towards players reporting, final predictions. Kickoff is it 8 or 7 weeks? So it's almost time to start locking these in. I think 8 is actually the number if it doesn't click. Like, period. That's if it all. That's their floor. If the new front 7 on D doesn't click gel. If the O-line takes longer than expected. But I kind of in my head go, how do they not win 9? Rough schedule, yes. But when you have line of scrimmage, turnover at the rate A&M did, I think tons of people will be cautious. But just, A&M's one of the 10. Because if they go 11-8, it's the -3. -3 is insane huge, yes. Insane huge, yes. When Olin joins me at 1, we'll come back to that, just to give you a heads up and get his take on that and more. I'll be back. We'll wrap up lunchtime. Lunchtime thanks to Rudy's Barbecue here on the Louie Bellina Show, here on The Zone.
Be in the know about the Louie Bellina Show.
In the morning you are awakened by the twitter of a little bird.
Follow at LouieB1150. That's at LouieB1150.
Follow us on Twitter.